Hello there, a Knife Terror here. I do hope you're having a good day today, and I'm bringing you a knife summary of a knife I have done a review on. The review, if you prefer to watch the full thing, will be linked down in the description. This is the Echo Knives Splinter, Echo Knives being a child company, it's a smaller company version, budget version, and CKF, Custom Knife Factory brand. It's not their MCAD stuff that they used to do, which is unfortunate, but I've never actually gotten to experience an MCAD one, but I heard they were good, so I'm going to go with that. This is their, I guess, attempt at more budget knives. So, what are we looking at real fast? Just quick synopsis. As you can see, it's a pretty slim knife, and I do like long, slender knives, with maybe just under, to the very start of this scale, under 3.5 inches of blade, with 8.25 overall. So it's not a particularly small knife. It's a full-size, good knife. This one is in S35 VN right there, and this G10. It is a liner lock with sunken liners. It is a front flipper only, which I was definitely going to detract for some people. I definitely know that. And there's a lot of really good here. The weight's pretty good. The balance is a little bit further back from the pivot than you might expect, but it's kind of where they want you to hold the knife, so it really works, and it's balanced well. The blade is, except for this tiny little right in here, pretty much completely sterile. There's no markings, no branding on the blade, so it looks good. All right, the entire thing has a good look. They did their little logo here, kind of like CKF does, typically on the hand or somewhere else, which makes sense considering CKF is the owner here. The geometry is very thin, even despite it not having a super tall grind and ability to drop down. It gets very thin behind the edge. The blade stock's thin. Very nice, very good slicing. The plunge grind does come pretty darn close to the edge here. In fact, I'd say it's almost kind of like right there, where it really ends. It's kind of hard to tell. And the stop pin is behind the edge, pretty close. However, I think they've avoided any major issue because the stop pin actually hits here, where you get back to pretty much full tang thickness. And that's not typically where you're going to cut in your sharpening choil anyway. You normally cut in it sort of in front of, like, in between the area where the plunge grind doesn't quite end, and to extend the blade edge, you usually lose a little bit of edge. And you can definitely get in there. You have to be careful. I mean, you don't want to hit back here, but I don't think it's actually going to be a problem. It's like here to here, just expand that. Yeah. So that's not even a negative here. It's just looks like it could be. It's very close to being, but it's not. The action is quite good. It's not... It's got a unique action to it. It definitely feels a little more premium than the more budgety end that you normally would expect. I mean, this isn't truly a budget knife, but it does feel a little bit better than a lot of ones in the same tier. Yeah, sure, Kaiser and Kubi and stuff like that can give some really good action, but this thing has a little bit of a tightness and a glassiness to it that does feel a little bit better. The G10, with just this simple little bit of milling here, is nice. It's well executed, it's softened. You've got a full G10 backspacer with a hidden lanyard post for those who care about that. There's some internal milling to the liners. It's got full steel liners, but they are milled out in there a little bit. You can kind of see it in there. Lock bar access, despite it not really looking that great, and it being jimped, which I don't typically like, yeah, you can get it from the side. It's actually pretty good. quite good, in fact. The knife came, I don't remember if it was a tiny bit off center, but if I did have to crank it down a little bit for maybe play or centering, it is now perfectly centered, and it centered up with no play very, very easily. So there's, like I said, also, before I go moving on, this clip looks like it would be... It almost looks like a mess up, doesn't it? You have not only a deep carry wire clip that is not set up for deep carry, but then, of course, I mean, I don't like the flat at the end here because that makes it a little bit more of a pain to get in the pocket, but it still works. It's a wire clip. It's going to work. However, I actually think they were quite smart with their placement here, because the knife, you're clearly meant to put the back of your hand behind here and sort of cup the wire clip. It makes the wire clip more comfortable than normal wire clips. It puts me, at least, in that position where the actual balance point is, and it makes for a very comfortable handle, despite it being thin and not super tall. So I actually think they kind of thought this out and did it well. I hope they thought it out and did it well, and it's not just they got lucky, but either way, it's good. And you can do all of the, the front flipper stuff, the reach around. But this knife is being held back by two issues. And that is the jimping on the front flipper. I mean, of course, the front flipper by itself could be technically holding the knife back. But the jimping on the front flipper is one of the issues that's definitely holding it back. It doesn't go all the way around. It stops right here. And the jimping is wide and very smooth. So if you go to push into here, like this is me trying to push there, but you can definitely slip off this thing if you go up at the top of it where you normally think you want to be. It's not super comfortable, and you can slip off of it. Even though it feels weird, you kind of actually just rest your hands on these little apex points, or your finger, I guess, and you push a little bit lower from there, and it works. I can't say it doesn't. You can, as I've been doing it, right? I've shown you can do all the things. But for some people who maybe don't have as good of a handle on front flippers, or maybe have big fingers that just don't want to hit in the right place, yeah, the front flipper for a front flipper only knife could definitely be executed better. Though you definitely can get it to work, and you can get used to it. The other thing holding this knife back is the price point. This knife, I got it on sale, so don't take this. If you can find it on sale, yeah, sure. Give it a shot, check it out. But this knife is originally $150. And in G10 and S35, I feel that you can find probably a handful of knives doing very similar stuff for $20, $30, maybe even $40 less. Closer to the $100 mark. Yeah, usually when you get under $100, most knives aren't going to give you S35 yen. But I feel that you definitely can get some stuff here in this territory with this blade steel or something similar. I mean, some companies, just standard Chinese companies, have offered things like M390, even if it's not necessarily great heat treated, at, $110, so $120, so, or at least I've seen them. So, overall, well, here's one right here. Tucson, yeah, it was gotten off of eBay and everything like that, but this is M390, and I got this for under $100. So, yeah. I do feel that it's a slight miss on the price point. I don't know if it has the extra step involved where it goes from, China to wherever the CKF factory is now. I don't know if it's getting that factored in. That's why the price is a bit higher. But I do feel like it can be beat out, and that's why I don't feel that... I feel that they were mixed, because two big issues, the execution of the front flipper and the actual price point, just doesn't feel quite right. So, while I have found this to be a very good knife, and one that I've actually gravitated to picking up and just grabbing and throwing in my pocket, it's relatively light, it's nice, it's the style kind of thing that I like, as I said. It's definitely not something that I would say is... I don't want to say it's not recommendable, it's just, I think you can do better. So, yeah. That's it for the summary, just a quick little overlook at this thing. The jumping also back here is pretty much completely worthless, so don't worry about it. So, yeah, there we go. We're done. Actually, I do want to mention, these are T6 back here on the body screws. That's not a T6 in there, is it? That's a T8. Well, the pivot's T8. So, I think that pretty much wraps up an off-the-cuff sort of... I just picked up this knife and did a review or summary on it. Dog says I'm done. So, okay, I'm going to call things here. Thanks for watching, or watching the full review if you had any interest. And I hope you continue having a good day. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.